goosebumps every time, yeah, 713. To the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low-key. I'm sipping low-key and honest, flying rider. I get those goosebumps every time. I'm around, yeah. I'm on to make everything go fine. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the high, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, we can throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time.
Up the mags.
Yes, sir.
Hey, come on. Welcome back to Loaded Mag NFFC, the big match preview away days, and it's a big one, big game on Sunday. And we're going to get into it with our fantastic guests. But boys, reeling off the brilliant show with Martin Douglas last night, how are you guys today on this fine Thursday evening?
Tired, Pete, wrecked, little sleep, up in the office today, back at it today, dedication, here we go again. And here we go again, hopefully. Sorry, Dave, for another win. Hopefully.
Ooh, hopefully. Sorry, shots already.
I would love it. I would love it.
Get in. Chris, how are you, mate?
All right, mate. Up the wall, as usual. Really busy day in work. Had to shoot to a few different places. I'll have to tell you about it after the show. I won't bore all the viewers with all my issues. But yeah, I'm injured as well, mate. And you know what? I played footy tonight, and it was the first minute, right? Scored a goal with my right foot, injured my left foot, and I've never, ever had a thigh strain. And when people have said, oh, I've got a thigh strain, can't play, I've got a thigh strain, I was like, thigh strain? I've got a thigh strain, and it's very, very sore. So I spent the other 59 minutes of the game. Oh, mate, I spent the other 59 minutes in goal, couldn't play. So, yeah, I'm currently nursing my thigh, which is very, very sore. But other than that, really pleased to have Dave on tonight. Really looking forward to getting into away days, and it feels like a bit of a crunch match this weekend. So, yeah, hopefully we continue the good form, and obviously great to welcome Dave back to Loaded. So, yeah, really looking forward to the show. Pete, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, well, if you'd asked me 10 minutes ago, I probably would have been able to answer you because I was well off asleep. I literally sat down, sorted out the little one. She's gone football training, and then finally sat down after like freshening up. And I was just like, next thing I know, I wake up and it's like 5 to, and I'm scrambling to get ready to get on because I was thinking, no, we've got a show in like 5 minutes, but I'm here. We're good. We're ready to talk about it. And look, let's get into it because we've got a great guest on. And it's an absolute pleasure. It's been a while, but to welcome back David Axbury, Nottingham Forest fan, and good friend of DoreOntour as well. So let's welcome in Dave.
Welcome, Dave. And don't sleep on Forest, lads. Note to self. Welcome, Dave.
Where did that come from? How are you, gents? Lovely to see you all.
You too, mate.
Yeah. Here we are again. And it's good to be back, and it's good to see your faces, lads. Always one of my favourite channels.
How are you feeling, mate? Third in the Premier League.
I know, mate.
Great start to the season. Like I imagine you didn't expect this to be happening with Forest, but just what are your emotions right now? Because you guys are doing something special, albeit 10 games in.
It's a bit of a struggle in a way, Pete, to acclimatise to a sort of a new environment and a new conversation about Forest. Really, after the last 2 years, you know me, Pete, and Chris know me, and it does get to know. I'm not one for getting ahead of myself ever. The next game is always a really, really tough one. Whether it's Newcastle this week or Arsenal in a fortnight or Ipswich at home after that, I kind of look ahead and think that there's nothing easy, and but. As it is at the moment, I mean, I'm slightly asthmatic, so I'm struggling to breathe in this rarefied air at third in the table. I mean, it's astounding, really. It's way beyond any expectation I might have had at the start of the season. I think I predicted us to be either 13th or 14th or 15th, something like that. And that to me would have been clear progression from 16th the first year, clinging on 17th last year. Yeah. But here we are, 10 games into the season. We've already got 19 points. We only got 32 the whole of last season, 38 games. We've got 28 games to beat what we put on the table last year. And it's the manner of what we're doing. It's the likability of the squad. It's the likability of our manager and our coaching staff. And it's just a general feeling of there's a lot of euphoria, which is understandable because this is the best position we've been in as a football club and a football family and as a footballing city for a long, long time. Hell of a long time. So you have to enjoy it while it's there. I personally think there will be a levelling off. I don't think, if Forest sustain this, then I'm just going to, enjoy the ride. Once you get on the roller coaster, you're hooked in, to the car and you just go with it. And it's fantastic. I really like our lads. I think I've been saying for quite a while that they're a really decent bunch of young people. They're really good guys. They all get on well. They're likable as human beings. I think they're likable as a football team now in a way that they weren't before. And it's just fantastic. But there's, when you're at this stage of the season, there's always another challenge coming, and it's a big challenge on Sunday. A team I've got a lot of time for, a team that I really admire, a manager I really admire, a fan base I really admire, coming from a stadium that I really admire. I've a lot of love for Newcastle. The times I've been to St James's Park these last 2 seasons, just been mind-boggling. I think, without bringing up bad memories for you lads, Boxing Day was pretty special. But then, as I say, you lads like coming to us. You've won at us the last 2 seasons. So, I think Newcastle, are an established team. We've not been an established team, certainly these first 2 years. And I think maybe, just maybe, we're getting to be perhaps in that Brighton, Fulham, maybe Newcastle bracket, slowly but surely. So it's I think for a neutral, a lot of people will be looking at Chelsea, Arsenal this weekend, but I think for a neutral, it's one of the most enticing fixtures of the weekend, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it certainly is for us, and it has a little bit of spice to it because it means, I think it means quite a lot to both teams. You're looking at it. First of all, it's international break. Afterwards,
yeah,
so a 2-week break after this particular game. Everyone's asking the question: can Forest maintain it? Everyone's asking the question: can Newcastle United kick on? Because we've had 2 brilliant wins, one midweek against Chelsea, then Arsenal, and then we're at this point now. There are questions to be asked, and look, there were questions to be asked about your manager, Nuno, when he first came in. A few were not very happy that Cooper left. A few were excited by Nuno but weren't sure what to expect, particularly what he'd done abroad to come back over. What have you made of him, and what has changed to make you the team that is doing what you're doing right now? What has he done? Anything in particular that you Forest fans, have maybe looked at and gone, that's quality, that's made it?
Yeah, taking that in 2 parts, Pete, I think the answer to the first part of your question is that, he was filling the shoes of a guy for whom our fan base, quite rightly, had an absolute, welter of affection. Because Steve Cooper took us from, a 2 decades of wilderness and going nowhere and underachievement. And weren't they a good side back in the day? Steve Cooper took us away from that. And he came in at a point where we were bottom of the championship with 1 point from a possible 24. It was kind of like, blimey, this is. I remember the night that Chris Hughton was sacked. We lost 2-0 at home to Middlesbrough, and it was truly dreadful. It's probably the worst night I've ever had at the City Ground. It was awful. And then to be like going to Wembley, a few months later is just hard to get your head around. And for those of us who went to, I was lucky enough to go to Wembley. It will always be one of the greatest days of my life. So that cultivated, it certainly in me and a lot of people, a great affection for Steve Cooper. Yeah. And so, we had this, and he had a rapport with the crowd. There's like, it was like a 2-way street. But the thing is, what goes on inside the club. I have no control over that. Yeah. And I think what happened with Steve was that the style of football became jaded. I think he became jaded. I think he ran out of road. And I think at the time, much as I love the guy, and I will always love the guy, you know, what he's doing at Leicester at the moment, that's neither here nor there. But as far as the history of Nottingham Forest is concerned, Steve Cooper is probably, you know, after the great one, he's probably on a par, say, with Frank Clark as being, you know, what he's done. And obviously Frank Clark, a great Newcastle man as well. Love Frank to pieces. But so it was difficult for Nuno coming in. And I think the problem for Nuno is our view of him was coloured by Tottenham Hotspur, and it was coloured by what he'd done in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. If it had been coloured by what he did at Wolverhampton Wanderers, I think it'd be a different perception. So he came in, he had a really good start. I mean, we lost the first game he came in, we lost to Bournemouth 3-2 at home, but that was the game where Willy Bolly was sent off ludicrously for making a good tackle. We lost 3-2, but could have won it with 10 men. And then we came to you on Boxing Day, which I remember going to St James's Park thinking, we've no chance. I remember talking to the lovely Adam Pearson before, and Adam was going, what do you think? I said, mate, Newcastle win this comfortably. And somehow we won 3-1, bizarrely. Then we beat United the following Saturday, and you kind of think, hey, we're onto something here. But then there was a plateau. And then I'll tell you what, it seemed like there wasn't much of a connection between him and us. But then just towards the end of the season, with wins at Sheffield United and at Burnley, and then on the last day at Burnley, I did see a kind of a warming to each other. Where we are, why we are where we are now. It's easy for me to say. I think it was that close season he had. He was able to sort of set his stall out, get what he wanted, say to the powers that be and the recruitment team, I'd like a piece of that, I'd like an amount of that, and I'd like some of that. And I think they've gone about doing it. I think what his greatest gift to Nottingham Forest at the moment is that he spent most of last season, or you know, from when he came in, saying that the squad was bloated, it was overstacked, there was too much there, it was difficult to kind of find a way through it. It was like, you know, he was juggling plates left, right, and centre. But I think what he's done, and I think it's his greatest achievement thus far, is he's trimmed that squad, but in reducing the personnel, he's seemingly increased the options that we have, you know, on the pitch and coming off the bench. And we're finding at the moment in these first 10 games, nobody's sulking, everybody's buying in. They're a happy bunch. They all seem to get on really, really well. There are some characters in the team. I don't know if anybody's seen Ola Rayner's interview after the West Ham game with his Ribena, and where did that come from, Ola? Well, you know, sometimes you have to let it out, and it was a great shot. Man, I was knackered. And they're likeable. And Callum Hudson-Odoi is likeable. And, you know, Anthony Elanga and Morgan. And they're all getting on really, really well. They look to me like a happy bunch. It's almost as if nobody is a sore thumb. Nobody's a spare part. And the good thing about that is it's not an 11-man game these days. It's nearly a 20-man game. And the ones who don't start don't sulk and don't fester. So people are coming off the bench. I mean, at Leicester 2 Fridays ago, Taiwo Awoniyi came on, looked sharpest he's been for a while. Ramon Sousa came on, was on it straight away. Jota Silva makes things happen every time he comes on. You can bring on Morato, who's like, if you stick him next to what I consider to be the best signing, and I think it's the best signing any club has made this season, Nikola Milenkovic for 12 million from Fiorentina. The guy is a mountain. Yeah. And he's everything. I tell you what, Clough would look down and see in Milenkovic shades of Larry Lloyd, Kenny Burns, and Dave Needham, those great players in our championship side of 1970, 77, 78. And Milenkovic has made Sells a more confident goalkeeper. He's made Murillo a better player alongside him because he's so solid and he cleans everything up at the back. It means that Aina can go forward. Moreno, who's on a recovery mission from Villa, he can go forward. And then it flows through the team, you know, and that's at the back. And then the old wardrobe up front, what he's doing is just beyond belief. All I would say about...
He's in the chat as well, Dave.
Yeah, he is.
He is.
Just, I mean, it's probably the most unexpected story coming out of any club this season. Yeah. At 33, I mean, he's a consummate professional. I mean, he works hard. He's a good guy. He's a leader in and around the club. I think a lot of the other lads look to him as a figurehead.
I'll just stop you there 1 second, Dave, just because we've got, I think one of your tag team partner is waiting patiently.
Waiting long enough.
You. I think Dave, he was waiting for you to take a breath. But then
that's me saying I've got asthma, and I've just proved otherwise, haven't I?
Let's welcome in Dore.
Hang on, lads. Hang on, lads. Yeah, we're all
Get
right.
your Ibina.
Let's welcome in Dore. Where is he?
Here he is.
Probably on a bus somewhere.
Mr. Dore, Mr. Ben Dore.
There he is.
You know what? I can listen to Dave all day long. I could just sit there and just relax, man.
Oh,
like,
this is Bibble.
Dave's the main man now. So I could sit here, Dave, you do the talking, and I'll just listen.
What did you throw the hands for, didn't Ben?
I expected
I used to love
I
Thunderbird
expected
when I was a kid.
I can expect Dave to carry on talking to Tarek, but I love Dave. Dave knows I love listening to him and all that.
And I love Dore as well. We get on brilliantly, me and him. He's my partner in crime.
But I've got you know what, Newcastle lads. I've got an issue with Dave, and Dave knows it because with third place, I don't get my high hopes. But I'm like, Dave, come on, get that little inner chunk. He's like, come on, man. I've seen him talk. Man. I'm like, Dave, come on. We're on a rival show. Just come on, man.
Talking about Chris Wood, the Golden Boot.
Chris Wood as well. I'll have one, man. I'll have one.
I mean,
how good has he been? How good has he been then? Chris Wood, obviously we sold him to you guys. He only scored a few goals for us. You paid a decent chunk of money to get him. I remember having a conversation with you early on, Dore, and you were like, "What have you sold us here?"
Wait. You lot, when we brought him off, you lot was saying this and that, and every Newcastle fan was rattling us. And I'll be honest with you, and I don't know if Dave was. I was like this. Well, who's this guy, man? Why have I got Chris Wood?
Dore, I came onto your channel, and what did I say? I said,
you were laughing.
No.
Don't give me that, Pete.
Okay. I was laughing. I was laughing at the fee that you paid for him. However, what did I say? I did say I think he could do a good job for you.
I need to look back. I need to look back.
Look back because I did say that.
Okay, after the show, I'll look back, and if you are right, then I'll say I apologize. But don't do that. All you Newcastle fans, 99.9, we're laughing at us, and now we're laughing at you lot. So now we've
the word I used to describe Chris Wood, as well as being the consummate professional, he's been a revelation. Yeah. I mean, if you think 2 weeks ago, he went to New Zealand for a World Cup qualifier, he scored, and then he travelled to Southeast Asia for a World Cup qualifier for New Zealand, scored. He was back in situ on the Monday night for Palace, he scored. He scored twice against Leicester, and he scored, against that lot on Saturday. He's been amazing. All I would say, and when I watch Chris Wood play, right, and I think about the last year of my life, without being too sentimental, my dad passed just over a year ago, right? And at the time, Woody, early signs, Dore will tell you this, early signs, Chris was not great. He got an injury that turned out to be worse than imagined at Tottenham. Yeah. We were awful at Tottenham, and he got injured. You kind of think, and I remember sitting with my old man, and my dad was a proper football man. He was on the Forest scouting staff, my dad. And I remember saying, I don't know about Chris. I think he might just have gone beyond that point where he's a light of former years. And the old boy sat in his chair. He went, hey, he's a good centre forward. Don't write him off. He'll get you goals. He got goals at Burnley. He got goals at Leeds, goals at Leicester, goals at Newcastle. He'll score you goals. And do you know what? Almost from the day that my dad passed, October the 26th, Chris Wood has been saying to me, old Roy Asprey was right. So when he scored, particularly the Leicester game, right? The Leicester game was very poignant for me because it was the day before the 1 year anniversary. And that night in the King Power, I stood next to Dore and I got really emotional because when he scored his 2 goals, I was kind of thinking of what my dad said. And I'm thinking, my dad said to me, have faith in Chris Wood. And Chris, fine man that he is. And he's a good guy, Chris Wood. He's really playing. He's kind of saying to me, your dad was right. So Chris Wood and what he's doing at the moment, from a personal point of view, means a lot to me. But I think what's more important is he means a lot to the lads in that dressing room. Yeah, he's a leader. He's part of our senior pros group with, I think, Morgan and Yatesy. Milenkovic will be in that now. Matt Sells. And
Carry
Chris,
on, Dave. Carry on with the players, Dave. Carry on with all the players. Dave, wait, Dave. Have you mentioned Elliot Anderson? He used to play for Newcastle as well. Come on.
I was holding that one back because I didn't want these sharks above me.
No, Dave, listen. No. Listen, right? Because this is the thing, right? Like I said to Pete, when we brought Anderson and they brought in the Greek god, he was like, oh, this and that, and other. But now look at him. Like, I'll be honest, right? When we brought Elliot Anderson for 35 million, I thought to myself, Newcastle ripped it after gave us another dud and all that. But I do remember when he played, he came. I think he came on against us at the City Ground last season, and I thought, okay, he's a bit of a player. And I thought, when Forest brought him, I was like, we don't need him. But lads, sorry Newcastle fans, we've got a great player. He can play. It's not. When Morgan got injured before the Leicester game, that number 10 role is so important for us. And he played. I'm like, oh my god, is he going to be the next superstar? And then the West Ham game. Who did we play before that, Dave?
So what happened against West Ham?
Crystal Palace
Nuno
game.
Nuno managed them because they both had knocks. So Elliot got a knock against Leicester.
Yeah.
Morgan was still recovering from the knock he got against Chelsea, which at the time looked far worse than it's proved to be. So against West Ham, he gave Morgan, I think, 60 minutes or 65 minutes, took Morgan off, put Elliot on, and it's to Elliot's great credit, and he deserves a hell of a lot of credit for what he's done for us. It was as if, you know, the last two seasons, we would have definitely known and seen an impact for Morgan Gibbs-White not being in that team. I think it's a statement of how much we've progressed. That Elliot Anderson came on, and it was almost seamless. He won a free kick. He laid it to Callum Hudson-Odoi. It's 2-0. And I think Elliot, I think Milenkovic is the best guy we've signed.
Yeah.
But Elliot isn't far behind him. And what I love about Elliot Anderson, he's got the best lack of facial expressions I've ever seen in a lad.
Yes, definitely.
Did any of you guys watch the video today?
You know, if you said, right, Elliot Anderson, what you like facially when you're like euphoric, he'd be like, Elliot, what you like when you're absolutely devastated, he'd be like, he betrays nothing. He's got the best face in the squad.
I don't know if you've seen the video today, but I watched it. It's on Forest's thing because it's his birthday. And the lads birthday. And I tell you what, like they're all buzzing. They're arriving at
and he's smoking.
All the lads are buzzing. They're all like signing their names next to his picture. It's a really, really nice thing that they're doing. They're all buzzing and everything. And then I can't remember which lad it was. One of the lads is walking up to training ground, like walking onto the pitch, and then Anderson's walking the other way, and he just kind of like gives it to him. And he does exactly what Dave does. He gives it. He's like, "Oh, all right," and he just like no reaction whatsoever. He's like,
you know what, mate? I love him for it. In that dressing room, I mean, the psychology in that dressing room fascinates me. You've got the funniest guy in there, and like the most kind of lovable character without by mile, Ola Aina. Then you've got Callum Hudson-Odoi, who's like dancing. Anthony Elanga. Morgan. Nico,
hey, Dave, don't talk about Elanga to these lot. Don't talk Elanga to these lot because they want him to stop. Don't talk about him.
But the thing is, right?
He's rubbish.
They're all kind of quite excitable, bubbly, outgoing sort of lads. And Elliot Anderson just seems to take everything in his stride. But the kid can play. And I'll tell you what, talking about Newcastle, what is quite informative going into this match is, and this is not me, you know, firing a shot at you guys. Your first string played us in the League Cup. Okay, you won the match eventually, but our second string, of which Elliot Anderson was maybe the central part about that night, were a real match for you that night. I kind of looked at it, and I remember looking at the two teams, and Dore to say, I looked and thought, wow, Eddie's gone strong as if to say, I want to win the League Cup. Nuno said, this is an opportunity for me to assess the supporting cast, if you like. And the supporting cast that night, Ramon Sousa, Jota Silva, especially Elliot, and that would have been a big game for Elliot playing against Newcastle. Although Elliot being Elliot, he's the sort of guy, I think, if a bullet passed us through the front of Elliot's head and it came out the back, Elliot would just carry on as if nothing had happened. He takes everything in his stride. Pete's right about the video. Callum Hudson was always coming like, "Hey, Elliot, it's your birthday." And Elliot went, "Oh, weird."
But watch Dave.
It, you know?
There'll be a big smile on his face come Sunday evening when we have the 3 points.
Hey, right, listen, right. Like Dave said it, like when we played our reserve team against you lot played the first team, and you mentioned about Anderson. And I'm trying to talk about Anderson because he's a fantastic player. Like when he started against Crystal Palace at number 10 role, I thought that this is the big test if he can play that role. Played fantastic against Leicester. Like he didn't start against West Ham, and if he gets to play a part against you lot, I think you lot need to be worried. You lot need to be worried because we've got a good side. We've got
a good question actually here from Andy. It's good link in here from Andy because he asked the question: do you think Anderson and Morgan Gibbs-White can play together, or do they want to play in the same position? Because I see them, one of them coming on and one of them coming off.
It's a great question, that lads. I think they can play together. I think it's the question is answered by Elliot's what I perceive to be unselfishness and sort of slightly greater versatility than Morgan. Morgan works hard, but for supposedly the X Factor talismanic guy, Morgan puts in hard yards. That's why he got sent off at Brighton. He chased João Pedro like his life depended on it, and he put an untidy tackle in. He was a bit unlucky. But that was Morgan saying, "Look, Forest fans, look, teammates, I'm giving you the lot, even though I'm the supposed poster boy." Elliot, at Southampton, we won at Southampton. And what struck me that day at St Mary's was we had, I think Dominguez played as our holding midfielder, and he's been fantastic on the quiet. Nobody ever gives him any recognition. Fabulous player. And then we played Morgan as the 10. And then what happened? Elliot sort of played between the two of them.
Yeah.
And I kind of came out of St Mary's and I said it to Dore, and I kind of thought we're more fluent in transition because Elliot Anderson is unselfish enough to say, "I'll drop in sometimes or I'll push forward and support Morgan." He was there for Dominguez and then he was there for Morgan. I think they can play together. What I would say is looking further down the line, maybe at the end of this season, if, say, Morgan Gibbs-White were to be lured away by a bigger club than us, I think Elliot Anderson could fill that role. He's proved it. He's just come through an audition for that role. If you like what I'm seeing with Forest, there's a little bit of succession planning because I think Elliot Anderson could do the job if Morgan, say, went to a top 6 club or whatever, a big 6 club. Right, I won't say top 6 because we're in it at the moment.
Yeah. Dave, you're doing it again, man. Come on, man.
No, feet on the ground, Dore.
No. Listen,
I'm not having these three knocking my big head off if I make a big
mistake. No. Dave, what I'm trying to say about you're talking about Morgan Gibbs-White playing for a top 6 team, blah blah. Elliot Anderson can, if Morgan Gibbs-White did go, Anderson is ready to get into that role, but. It's still early days. I don't want to be like yourself, Dave. Go, okay, we're gonna be top 4, blah blah. No, I'm not doing that because I'm level-headed.
Yeah.
Talking about Anderson, I feel like you could in the comments mention can Morgan Gibbs-White and him play. Like Dave said, they played with each other in the Southampton game. Anderson was more deeper, but I prefer Anderson the number 10 role. He can play anywhere in that front 4. I'm not saying he can force number 9, but It's just so good that me and Dave can talk about a team that are in the top 6, top 4, and we can bully these teams now, saying we're not talking about Arsenal, Chelsea. No, but no, Dave. I'm just saying because we've got to people got to see, like you mentioned, we've got Milinkovic, 12 million. Come on,
to me that's the best signing anybody's made this season.
I remember
Fiorentina, captain of Serbia, what a player.
I see that. Sorry, Dave.
He's the cornerstone. You don't actually notice a lot of what he does. So he's allowing he's allowing the goalkeeper to be more confident, and he's allowing the other 9 to go and do their stuff. He's wonderful, that guy.
I showed Pete because one like a little loose link with you, Lucas link with him.
Milinkovic.
Yeah, but you're not getting him because because We had this conversation about more Gibbs White as well, Pete, and you're not getting him because and
Maybe Murillo.
Well, can't play left leg. Can't play his left leg.
We talk about Murillo, and we talk about succession planning if Morgan goes.
You can take him. No, not taking him.
Yeah, if Murillo went, I think we have a ready-made. We have a guy who could maybe not Morato. We signed Morato from Benfica, and if you put him, I think if you put him and Milenkovic together, I said to somebody a couple of weeks ago, if you put the two of them together, if those two worked as bailiffs in Nottingham and they went collecting the money, everybody would pay as soon as they saw them coming down the garden path, because they are, to my way of thinking, and I'm old school, they are Burns and Lloyd.
Lloyd.
You know,
John Linton wouldn't pay. John Linton's not paying. No way.
But like I said, I just seen a comment from Alan Thompson. Like, I keep saying to Dave, we've got to enjoy it. We're third spot, and it's not like people saying, "Oh, we're lucky." No, we're not lucky. We deserve it.
Yeah, you
deserve it on the way we're playing. Like we beat Liverpool 1-0. We deserve to win that game. Like we could say the Chelsea game was a really good game for a neutral. We could have won that game. Brighton, we should have won that game as well.
Chelsea could have beaten them with 10 men.
Exactly. So right now, Dave, and this is Dave Asprey, man. Enjoy being third. We are
right, lads. Let me just say to you. Let me ask you a question, you four. Could somebody just remind me who is currently top of the Champions League standings? I think they might have won all 4 games. Can you tell me who it is?
Yes.
Liverpool.
Yeah.
Now, has anybody beaten Liverpool in any game this season?
Please comment, please, in the comment section. Who has beat Liverpool?
We beat Liverpool at Anfield. Does that make us, in kind of in boxing terms, because we knocked them out, does that make us the best team in Europe at the moment? Because everybody is kissing Liverpool's backside. I tell you what, Stephen Warnock was on last night, and I'll give the lad his due. He stood with chappers at the big board, and they were going on about Liverpool, Arnie Slot, this, that, the other. And Stephen Warnock, bless him, when he said, Chapper said to him, "Where do you think this motivation's coming from?" And Stephen Warnock went, "That defeat to Nottingham Forest at Anfield still rankles with Liverpool, and that's what's driving them on."
Exactly, and that's what I'm trying to say. With Forest, like I said, everyone sees that we're. I don't want to head myself. I'll be happy with mid-table, blah blah. But right now we're third. We're playing well. All the people that don't watch Nottingham Forest will say, "Oh, it won't last," blah blah. But if you watch Nottingham Forest, we got like a great team. 2 seasons ago, me and Dave were like this. Again, we go to every single away game, and I'm not just trying to disrespect Steve Cooper, because I love Steve Cooper. I still love him if he's with Leicester. But right now we've got Nuno, and we're playing great football. And Newcastle, we're coming to City Ground and thinking, listen, Forest are a very good team to play, because I've been shaded quite a lot, Pete. I'm thinking, Newcastle's going to win this now. Because I've no Newcastle fans remember, we beat you 3-1 at your place. If everyone knows, I know that. Just a quick shot, but that's all right. And like I said, it's so exciting. Like Dave tries to say, Ben, just calm down a little bit, but I don't want to calm down. I see somebody like,
60s, mate, and
it's like for me, Dave knows I'm a positive person, and I talk about Forest going to do this, but it's just so exciting to see. Players like Chris Ward scoring goals for fun. I've never said that. I understand why. Like Newcastle wish to have him. Do you wish to have Newcastle Chris Ward right now?
No.
Stop lying, Pete. You're lying. Pete, you're lying.
Are you telling me that we would swap Alexander Isak for Chris Wood? Because I don't believe there is no Newcastle fan.
Pete,
there's no Newcastle fan that
Pete,
would. Look, there is no chance I'm swapping them. That's Chris.
Chris. Would you take Chris Ward?
Mate, Chris Ward is in fine form.
Would you take him now? You answer the question. Would you take him now? Yes or no?
For Isak?
Yes.
No.
Form.
No.
What?
I can't make
Isak scored 3 and 3 as well.
He's one of the best strikers in Europe, mate.
Chris Ward?
We still have the scars from Chris Wood.
Chris Wood is firing at the minute. He is firing, mate. Exactly. I agree with you. He's firing. He is firing.
Can I just say I really like both of them.
I love both.
Let me just say, Chris was a revelation. I don't think Isak is as much of a revelation. right?
That's more of a conversation. That's more of a
I
conversation.
tell you what,
Interesting one.
that goal. Let's go back to that goal against Arsenal. It was a thing of wonder. It was one of the finest crosses you'll ever see, and one of the best headers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think Isak is quality. And if I go back, the worrying thing for you lot coming to our place this time is you've won there the last 2 years, right? So you won 2-1 and 3-2, right? And I if I was Newcastle, I'd be kind of quite happy of coming to Forest thinking, well, we've not won there for a bit, you know. But the context for me with Newcastle and Forest now is that first game back in the Premier League when we came to St James's Park and you won 2-0.
Amazing day that was. Great day.
And the golfing class was colossal.
Yeah.
The Geordies that day were amazing to us. I remember saying to a guy, am I all right wearing my colours in Newcastle? He went, they'll love you for it. And
I love going Newcastle away. Love it. I love it.
Geordies are the best welcoming fans to go to any.
Dave,
Was that the game we were at, Pete? It was the game we were at, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was
let me say about Newcastle fans because I always rate them.
Yeah.
When I like me, Dave, we go to all the big games, and Newcastle have always been a top fan base. Always going to be there, especially away from home.
You say it to me every time we play you. I always get a message for Newcastle fans that are watching. I always get a message from Dore after every time we play them, and the one thing he starts with is your fans are the best. Like you always start with that. Newcastle
always.
And it's not just us, lads. I really good friends with the boys on the Back of the Net AFC Bournemouth podcast, and they the last couple of years they've had a ranking of away days, and Newcastle have won it both times. Yeah. We've not been too far down, but when we went to Newcastle that day, you know what a first day back in the Premier League after 23 years to go there. You drive into Newcastle, and it's like a citadel. It dominates the skyline. I mean, the only thing is 140 steps up to the top of the leads.
I ran up there. I ran up, Dave. I ran up.
Yeah, he took the lift. Right. I did 110, and then our mate Gary Marriott met me at 110. He went, "How's the run going, Dave?" I said, "Oh, we should take the bastard lift now." To be honest with you, mate. So, and then you get up there, and you get to the top of the Leazes, and you look. You've got the big screen to your left, and you look out, and you think, "Well, there's the bridge." And there's like Jimmy Nail's house, and there's Sam Fender's house over there, right? And my God, the Seagulls were coming in lower than we were. It was unbelievable. But what I remember that day is Guimaraes taught us a lesson, and the gulf between it. We got out there thinking, wow, we did well to keep it to 2. And it was a welcome to the Premier League. And if nothing else, Newcastle did us a favour to kind of show us the reality of what we're in. So,
and look where you are now, Dave. Look where you are now. Do you know what I mean?
This is the point I'm trying to make, Chris. It's as if we're making strides. I mean, I could not be more proud of our lads. I could 100%. Not like them more. I have huge affection for them. They're good guys. Pete will tell you that thing with Elliot's birthday was just. But it's one of a number. We get stuff every week, training. We have a bench cam and all this kind of. And our lads are really relatable. And when you've got a team that's relatable, you're on to a winner.
Yeah.
Take West Ham, for example. Last week at our place, they basically came onto the field, West Ham did, and said, well, I don't know if you millions and billions around the world are watching, but we really don't like our manager because we think he's a misery guts. We're not playing for him. Yeah. And Forest at the moment, I'll tell you what I go back to. Dore will tell you this because he was there, he stood next to me. At Chelsea, Nico Williams pushed Cucurella into Maresca. Maresca went arse over tit. We're worth £1 billion worth of investment. They all came barreling out the dugout. We're going to show you next minute, little Nottingham Forest. Well, maybe not so little because Willy Bolly was the first out of the dugout. Chris Wood was behind him. If you hit Nico Williams, you hit all of us.
Milenkovic, Dave. Milenkovic.
Milenkovic was there. Morato turned up. Nicholas Jackson had a swipe at him and then thought, I better not do that because he knows where I live now, right? And Forest that day acted like a family. And at the moment, to this point, it might not be the same on Sunday, but to this point, Forest are playing like a family. Cloughie would be looking down and he'd love what he was seeing. My old man's looking down and I hear my dad going, playing all right, the lads are. And it's good thus far. But in the weeks to come, we have to play Newcastle United, Arsenal, Ipswich. Then we go Manchester City on a Wednesday, away, Manchester United on the following Saturday, away, then Aston Villa at home. How good Nottingham Forest really truly are will probably only be revealed then. In fact, come back to me after game 19 against Everton at Goodison when we're halfway.
And Dave, imagine, and Dave and Dore, imagine if you get through that really tough period and you're still up there. Imagine the expectations then and the excitement and the belief. And
you know what it is, Chris? Because like I said, these next set of games, we'll see. It's not to see where we're going to finish. It's going to say where we're going to be. Yes, we beat Liverpool, drawn with Brighton, and blah blah blah. It's see because these next games, like I said, we've got you lot, got Man U, got Man City, got the big lot. But you'll see where we are going to finish, I think. So if we do win Newcastle on Sunday, then we've got Arsenal as well away. It's going to be a big test for us. But like I said, Dave all the time, last 2 seasons going to away games, it feels like, can we get a point? But now I'm feeling
it's like,
yes, it's like.
Well, do you know what?
Sorry, Dave. It's not like, we're gonna play poor. We can play fantastic football, but if we lose, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna say Nuno this, Nuno that. You can we gave it a big shout. We are playing against these big boys, toe to toe. Like Dave mentioned, it's Chelsea. These big clubs thinking, they can roll over for us. No, we're not. We've got a different mindset. We can push all the big teams around a lot, and we're scoring goals. That's the most important thing. And we keep, you know what? And the most important thing before Dave talks, we're keeping clean sheets as well.
Yeah.
Sheets. Set pieces has been shocking for the last 2 seasons. And we talk about
all good sides are built on clean sheets. All good sides.
Exactly. And we talk about everyone talks about Murillo, fantastic, Milinkovic as well. But we've got I know you Newcastle fans are going to be rattled. We've got Ryan Yates as well. People don't forget. We've got the man himself. Yeah. He rattles all the teams.
Yes.
He rattled the Liverpool fan base. He rattled the Chelsea fan base. I can talk about this guy over and over again. As Dave knows, I love the guy. He'll come and rattle your midfield as well, whoever plays in there, because the guy's been. I can say England loosely and all that, but. He's been a fantastic player for us, and he started with Nottingham Forest under Martin O'Neill, and now look where he is now. He's a Premier League player, and now he's rattled the Premier League, and I'm loving every single bit of it. And you lot are next. I'm loving it,
boys.
Yates is like he cut the cockroach's head off, and he carries on living for years afterwards. So many of our fans they don't like him because he's not. So many fans play football these days with their thumbs, and they think it's glamour players, exotic players, and all this kind of stuff. Ryan Yates is a good old-fashioned English top-level footballer. He does what it says on the tin. Yes, he's not going to beat 4 or 5 players, but he'll get if it's a dogfight, and every team needs somebody to put it about a bit. Sean Longstaff, Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira, back in the day, Paddy Crerand, people like that. Every team had somebody you thought, I don't want to go up against him. Tommy Smith for Liverpool. There was always somebody you thought, that guy I'm going to be looking at. Terry Erlock for Millwall. Remember him? He's a right nasty piece of work. There was always somebody. I'm not saying Yates is a nasty piece of work, but what Ryan does, he does what he does, and it adds to the blend. At the moment, the chemistry in the blend is good. Yep. You've got Morgan doing his stuff, Woody's doing his stuff, the wingers are doing their stuff, the fullbacks. But if you like the two in the middle, Yates, and for me, Nicholas Dominguez, right? He's kind of been a bit of an afterthought for a lot of people because he's not, again, like Yates, he's not a glamour player, but certainly against West Ham last week, every time Nuno and Rui Pedro Silva and us as fans wanted somebody to be in a particular position on the pitch to do a job for our club, Nicholas Dominguez went, yeah, it's all right, lads, I've got that. And what he does, he then allows the others to go and play. And the blend is right at the moment. But, as I say, the thing about us is we were going to games for the last 2 years, especially away from home. And I know it was good. Please don't hit us. Now Forest are going saying, okay, we'll come and contribute to this game. And we're not just going to be, hanging on and then trying to hit on the break. And it's that change of mentality. And I think the close season that Nuno had, like I say, going back to Pete's point at the start of the show, it's that close season that they had, and it was close. They've become a close unit, and I think like I say, so far so good. But come and ask me at the evening of December the 29th when we played Everton at Goodison, and that is halfway.
Well, boys, I'm going to stop it there just because I want to get our lineups. Okay, so I want Dore and Dave together to pick your lineup, and then Chris, Daz, we can pick ours. And I think there's someone in the chat that's mentioned about potentially doing a combined 11. So we may well.
Oh, do that, Pete. Do that.
Yeah.
Let's do what the lineups are going to look like for both teams first, and then we'll do the mix because all the players will be on the pitch by then. So, talk us through it. Why have I got two Matt Sells? Is he that good that you've got?
Of course, it's good. That's what it's one's Matt's, one Sells.
Right. Okay. Talk us through it. Your team then.
Matt Sells definitely in goal.
Okay.
Usual back four. It's going to be Elena, Milikovic, Murillo, and what's his name?
Alex Moreno.
Usual back.
Alex Moreno.
I thought that was a real coup, you getting that Alex Moreno.
Yeah.
I liked him at Villa.
Chris,
I thought he looked decent at Villa.
Chris, I'll be honest with you, and Forest fans will know, because I don't know if you don't know, we wanted to sign him 2 years ago.
Oh,
and,
really?
Yes, and then a month later, he joined Aston Villa, and I was fuming about it. But now, I said to everyone, I feel bad now because the Liverpool debut was fantastic. It was fantastic, and he's gone better and better and better.
Good player.
Yeah, he dealt with Mo Salah that day brilliantly.
Yes.
Beyond expectation. And in fact, Ola Aina, the other side, dealt with Luis Diaz. I think it's the most sort of smothered that those two have been for a long time, and that was great credit to our lads that day. One is a free transfer base, and the other one who can't make his way at Villa because Luca Dini is keeping him out of the team. Yeah. So it's an amazing effort by our lads, the fullbacks that day.
What's your midfield looking like then, boys?
Yeah, Ryan Yates, Dominguez.
Yeah,
Ryan Yates and Dominguez. Okay, and then your forward boys.
I think it'll be more Gibbs White in that 10 role.
It's Morgan Gibbs White. Morgan Gibbs White to start.
Alanga.
And then depends how long he lasts.
In the middle here?
Yeah. And then you've got Callum Hudson-Odoi on the left and Alanga on the right.
Okay. Alanga on the right. And then
the mighty legend, Newcastle legend, Chris Wood.
Okay, so no Elliot Anderson.
That's
it's
the thing.
Not broke. It's the
Nobody
same
Anderson.
we've had for the last three. It's not broke. It doesn't need fixing. A settled side is the holy grail in football. Everybody wants to injuries and suspensions and all that. If you can have a settled side and you think, well, that's doing all right. I mean, we beat Palace on a Monday night. We weren't fantastic, but we got a win. And then what Nuno did 4 days later at Leicester, he went, you lot have earned the shirts, keep them and go again against Leicester. And against Leicester, Forest went to another level. I'm not sure about what that said. I mean, first half, it was quite even. Second half, it was not. It was a one-way traffic second half. So that I think that'll be our starting lineup. But then Nuno has a tendency to think it's a different course. I might need a different horse. So he isn't averse to making a change as and where he feels is necessary.
Okay, right. We'll flick through to the Newcastle team.
Sorry, Pete.
Pete,
Lisa's pointing towards something there, and I know it's come up in the chat here as well. But is Elliot Anderson injured? Is he carrying an injury, lads?
No.
He certainly
put a comment in the chat earlier saying that.
Someone said it in the chat. Yeah, you're right, Pete.
He didn't look injured at the end of last week's game, lads. To be honest, so
he did.
He'll be all right. No, he'll be all right. Yeah, he's not injured.
Yeah, Sean Bauer has just said. Yeah, he said he's training.
It's just at his birthday cake. He'll be happy.
You know what? You know what it is? The best thing about it, we're playing fantastic. I think we're just resting Anderson. we're resting them. We don't need him to play against Newcastle. We're just resting them.
Good old
Don't worry about
Netflix, Elliot.
No. To be fair, that video was from today, and he was on the training pitch when he received his birthday sort of gift from the players. So it would suggest that he's training, but training is different to being match fit. We'll see. So could be a bench role, but boys, Newcastle, what we're going for? Like we've got some selection headaches for a change in midfield and around that top line. So
is Blatching goal for you lot?
No.
hey,
It's Willie McFall.
stop it, George. we don't speak about that.
Dave, he's a fantastic goalkeeper. Dave, he's a fantastic goalkeeper. Start him on Sunday.
Can I reserve judgment, Ben, please?
What money? Wait. I'm just saying what Pete said to us. Money well spent. Sorry, Dave. So Pete, you know what, Pete? Sorry, Chris and Dad. I'm just getting revenge on Pete, man, because he gave me so much stick when we bought one, and now you lot bought Vlach for, is it 35 million? Whatever it is.
What?
Now it's your lot's turn.
No. I refuse to acknowledge it until the account come out. Until the account come out officially, it never happened. That's Chris. Come on, talk to us. What we're going for?
I'd personally go for to start off with here, and we can horse trade then with the exact same team we went with against Arsenal, right? Okay. And then we can look to tweak, right? So maybe line that out, Pete, and then we can tweak. So Popey, you have Lewis Hall, and you know where you're going.
Okay, so we've got Tino right back, Lewis Hall left back in the England squad, by the way.
Pete, I was on X before, and I was retweeting the show, to get everyone to come and watch us, and come and see what the Forest lads have got to say. And then I noticed on your feed, I was like, hang on, Lewis Hall's been called up to England. I didn't even know. Fully deserved, by the way. Fully deserved.
Unbelievable. Pocketed Saka the weekend, as you can see right there. One of many. He was superb. Slightly disappointed that Tino wasn't picked, considering he was in the squad the last two occasions. But look, Lewis Hall, fantastically and well deserved. But so we're going for the midfield that
Bruno,
was So Bruno, Joe Willock, and Sean Longstaff with
and then J7, Isak, and Gordon.
Okay, right. So what did you want to do with this? Now this was last week's team. Is there anything that you would want to change? Is there anything that we would change from this lineup, boys?
I wouldn't be surprised if this is the lineup. However, knowing Eddie like we do, for me, I think he makes one. I don't know what it is, and I know he's not played there consistently for us because he hasn't. I just have this weird feeling that he's going to put Sandro Tonali in place of Willock. That's just my feeling, because I just wondered if he's just gonna think, you know what, is it worth throwing Joe Willock back in the fray? And also as well, bringing someone like Willock on with 10, 15, 20 to go, I think he can really stretch Forest. But I mean, Pete, you can have the cast and vote, because the rest of the lineup, from what Daz has said from the previous game, I completely agree. Like I think the rest is as is. So it wouldn't surprise me if it stays the same. But I just think he might shake that midfield three up. What do you think, Pete?
I think there's a chance that happens. Sandro Tonali can play on the left. We talked about it yesterday with Mark Douglas, that actually, he plays on the left for Italy. He can play there, so it would be a like for like swap in that situation. I'm looking at the team and I'm thinking I don't really want to change too much, but I've just seen in the comment Peter Moore mentioned about Lloyd Kelly coming in for Byrne. Now that could be a potential change, purely because to try and counteract the pace here with Alanga and providing that little bit of extra support. But there's the other side of the coin, in that Dan Byrne's physical presence up against Wood, being in that battle, there's an argument for either or. Personally, I've got to be honest, lads, I think this will be the lineup. I think this will be the lineup with Tonali coming on later on. Harvey Barnes coming on later on. Maybe Lloyd Kelly, like we did against Arsenal. They brought Lloyd Kelly on. We almost went to a back three. And then turn these boys, because we know these boys can turn into wing backs. They can play wing back. Like, they've got the capabilities of doing that. And then you've got that solidity and pace with Lloyd Kelly just there. So we've got that in our locker. And you look at,
we know this. We know this works, right? And it's taken us this long just to get back to where we were last year, or sorry, the year before. So we know that this formation works, and with the personnel. Now I know, there's a lot of shouts for Tonali, for maybe even Barnes to get to feature here, or Kelly, but it's tried and trusted. And if we had a game midweek, I think then he would have shaken it up a bit. But because they've had a week's rest, another week's training, it's the lads that are playing on this formation here and on this pitch, a virtual pitch, it's their place to lose, so they have to mess it up to allow someone else in, and then to have those options from the bench.
Definitely. I just look at that bench, and obviously we've got Wilson and Botman and Trippier to come back after the international break, but you've still got Willisula, who played really well off the bench against Chelsea. Almiron and Murphy, question marks about them, but you've got Harvey Barnes, Lewis Miley, who's back in training, Andrew Tonali coming off the bench. Matt Targett was back in training. He was pictured training this week, doing the bleep test. And then you've got Kraft, you've got Lloyd Kelly. You've got good players that can come off the bench and influence the game from that. And that's not a bad team to have. Like Dave, and looking at that Newcastle team, who worries you? Knowing your team and knowing where your strengths and weaknesses are, let us know. Like, tell us from your team where the weaknesses are, and on top of that, where are you worried about Newcastle exploiting some of your weaknesses, and who are you most worried about?
I'll go first there. I think I've always been a fan of Joe Willock.
Yeah,
everyone talks about Gordon, because when we beat you 3-1 at your place, I thought Gordon played really well the first 30 minutes. I think it was against the Argentina right back, Moreta, I think it was. But for me, Willock, what the problem is, what you're talking, P, about, if Moreta and Lewis Hall attack, he'll suit us. Because when you got players like, mentioned Ryan Yates, Dominguez, if we bully that midfield against Ramirez, Longstaff and Willock, and both of them just take advantage of it, I think we can win the game. And Willock, for me, is the man that I'm a bit worried about, because if he takes control of that midfield and gives the ball to Isaac or Gordon, that's your threat. So I think it's going to be a midfield battle, as always. And like I said, I know Lewis Hall, he was fantastic last week against Saka and that.
You do realize though, like with Ryan Yates and Dominguez, they're obviously quite physical and they put themselves about a little bit. And Willock isn't that type of guy, although he gets stuck in.
That's what I'm trying to say.
But what happened against Arsenal, that's Chris, I don't know if you noticed this, but about 20 minutes in, this happened.
Yeah.
And it stayed like that for then a long part of the game. Because Arsenal was starting to get on top physically in that midfield for a short period of time. So what you do, you bring the enforcer in, and you know that this guy will put himself about. He's physical, he gets stuck in. And if it does get to a point in the game where these two are starting to become a little bit physical and overrunning the likes of Longstaff and Bruno, then he will be brought into that section. But he'll start there, and they interchange a lot.
Yes.
We know, but they do interchange a lot, and that's why they are so good together.
And that's what I was trying to say before, Dave. Like I said, Willock is the guy that I'm just a bit worried about, because, like I said, Dave, if Newcastle are in control of that midfield, you can swap him with Joelinton and that. But I think, let's say, if Ryan Yates, Dominguez take a bully that, or your wing backs do push on, it will suit us. I think it always have. I think West Ham tried it, and on Saturday, but it didn't work. So for me, it's a midfield battle, and if like I said, if you push on, you suit us. But you know what? I'm just looking forward to the game. To be fair, what about you, Dave?
I think Anthony Gordon worries me, because any guy who's got the pace that he's got is a worry to any team. right? If I go back to the very first game that we played in the Premier League when we came back, I've got to be worried about Bruno Guimaraes. He's a top draw player. Top draw. He ran that game. He ran the game last year when he beat us 3-2.
Yeah.
The year before at our place, Isaac gives me cause for concern because he was the guy who broke that game open when we. In fact, that was my birthday night. That and Newcastle won 2-1, and that was down to Isaac.
Yeah.
It's a top draw side that you've got. It's a cut above West Ham. I mean, whatever West Ham tried last week, Newcastle are going to have that covered in abundance, in my view. I like Joe Willock. What I think about Joe is that he goes a bit under the radar because there's a smattering of gold dust elsewhere in Bruno Guimaraes and Alexander Isak and Anthony Gordon and what have you, and Joe Linton. I mean, what a phenomenal turnaround in his career when he was bought as centre forward, and why has he bought this guy as centre forward? And then with a bit of TLC and a bit of thought, as playing in midfield, he's become a top draw player, Joe Linton, and he graces Newcastle for me. But what I think about this game is I'm looking at those two lineups on his screen there, Pete, and I think it could easily be a back and forth basketball type game where Newcastle come on to Forest come back into
Chelsea away.
I mean, the last two seasons, it would have been a case where Forest are like surrendering a lot of possession, keeping compact, and then hoping to hit on the break. I think this time Forest will be more sort of let's get into the game, let's contribute as much as they do, and I think it will ebb and flow. It's got, for me, if I was a neutral this weekend, I know people will be looking at Chelsea Arsenal, but for me, if I was a neutral this weekend, this is the game that would fascinate me the most. How good are they? They're third. How good are they? We know these are a side that's been in Europe the last couple of years. They're 11th. Can they get better? Can they deal with their slight issue away from home? And there's another turnabout. For 2 years, Forest away form was a thing. Now we're unbeaten away from home. Yeah. Newcastle, by contrast, have been good on the road in times when Forest have not been good on the road. And now Newcastle, I think they've won win at Wolves on the road. So they need to address that issue. Right. But I look at it and I think what's really nice for me as a Forest fan is to think that whereas like the last two seasons, I would have looked at the two 11s on the field and I thought Newcastle are clearly superior. While I think Newcastle is still a very, very good side, I think Forest are not as inferior as they were. Let's put it. I'm not saying that they're any better than, people say, well, we're better than Newcastle because we're third and they're 11th. It's only 10 games into the season.
Yeah.
And Newcastle could. This is a game that either of these two teams could quite easily win. Yeah. You can say Forest have got home advantage coming off the back of 3 wins and a major boost in confidence. Eddie and Jason and their lads will be thinking, we need to address our away form. This is a perfect chance to do it. They're riding high. Let's knock them off. They're riding high off the back of beating what's supposed to be a title contender. With and so it's a brilliant game because they're both in a good moment.
Yeah.
Right. And I look at it and I think, Isaac is top draw to me. Absolute top draw. Anthony, you could. I don't know, mate. I'm not going to put one above the other.
No, Dave, I'm just trying to rattle them lot. Come on, I'm just trying to track the Newcastle.
I'm not falling for it. Not falling for it, though.
Ben, I'm not even going to attempt to knock that barn door down.
See, that's what I'm saying to you. No, Forest fans, if you're watching this, just message Dave and tell him just to loosen up a little bit, man. Loosen up.
No, not winding anybody up. That's not my style, mate. I have respect for other clubs, and I want.
I love Newcastle fans, man.
Fans, you know what I mean? I look at that, and I just think if you're looking at those two 11s and you know your football, that's a cracking matching prospect. That and the idea of Joe Linton and Willock swapping is fascinating because then that gives Nuno and Rui Pedro Silva something to think about because they're going to need to spot that. If Arteta couldn't spot it, then it worked pretty well. My gut feel is that Nuno and the boys will have watched the Arsenal game at St James's Park with a fine-tooth comb. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. With a fine-tooth comb. And they'll say, Nuno will be saying, we have to improve. You see, Willock moves with Joe Linton. We cannot allow that to happen. And if it does happen, we need to deal with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if we win the league, mate, no, I'm not doing a forfeit. I dread to think what I would do if we won the league. I've already rapped on a Crystal Palace channel.
Don't worry about it. We can do a rap battle West Ham away, celebrating winning the league. Don't worry about it.
I mean, you've got is Harvey Barnes. Is he fit to play? Is Harvey Barnes?
Yeah, he'll be on the bench.
Yeah, he'll be on the bench.
Yeah. And then so Longstaff's in. Who would be, if Sean doesn't play? Who's the alternative to Sean? If Sean didn't play,
Andrew Tonali.
Yeah, you see, I mean, he's a good player. I know he's had his issues off the field and in the in the bookies and all that, but he's a quality player, Tonali. So I'm just happy as a Forest fan to think that we've got a level of depth that is now relatively comparable with Newcastle's. That's where I'm at.
And do you know what, Dave? Just to add in, and this will piss us both off just as much. By the way, we both know you're absolutely right, Dave. Like this game at the weekend, when you look at all the fixtures, you go, actually, this could be a really meaty game.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, we all know what the late kickoff is, and the late kickoff is, I believe, Arsenal and Chelsea. So when we come to our game, that it's going to be like, oh, here's Newcastle Forest, and then throughout the game it'll just be like, but we're going to go to Arsenal.
Even half time.
That's the most annoying bit.
Yeah, you're right, Chris.
As we've been Peter, and me and David are optimistic about, because we've been fantastic, but Newcastle are still a great team. They've got a good side. And it's going to be a good game for neutral as well. But hopefully,
the one
we
thing
want 3
Newcastle
points more than you lot.
Yeah, the one thing Newcastle can't do, they cannot be as square and as open at the back as they were on Boxing Day. It was like, I mean, that game was weird because you took the lead, Ola brought Isak down, and you kind of thought we were all in that up, above Mount Everest.
Nosebleed.
Yeah, nosebleed. You're thinking this is going to be really bad, and then it was almost like Forest worked out that that back line.
Dan Burn play left back. Did Dan Burn play left back because Alanga just done him for toast?
Yeah.
I do remember.
So Newcastle,
not anymore.
I don't think they won't do that again.
Lewis Hall next. Louis Horse is next.
Never again.
Nah. Now you're right. Just really quickly, because we've got a few questions, and then I want to get predictions before we wrap up. Do you want to do a kind of combined 11? We can kind of quickly run through one if you want.
Don't worry about it. It's all the Forest players, don't we? So it's easy.
There's going to be a lot of arguments here. There's going to be a lot of arguments here.
Nick Pope or Matt Sells?
Bobby.
Yeah, Pope. Definitely Pope.
Right.
Over a longer sample size, Nick Pope.
Yeah. Okay, Nick Pope's in. Right, we're going for a defensive back line. You've got Burns, Shaw, Milenkovic. And
no contest, man. I'm trying to be real. I'm trying to be level-headed. I don't be like Dave will tell me off for this. Try and go over like that. But come on, please. There's no talking about defense. Come on.
I don't
give him the centre back.
I'm definitely doing this if that makes sense. If you
crime.
Do you know what?
Definitely doing that.
We've got our battles to pick as the fixture. As the lineup goes on. I genuinely, I wouldn't have a problem having Milenkovic and Murillo. I wouldn't, because I think they've both been outstanding. I've got to say
let me just come in there on Murillo and Milenkovic. The pair of them just seem to have a natural chemistry, right?
Yes.
And I think if somebody said to me, why are Nottingham Forest third in the table and Newcastle United not third in the table, I'd put it down to those two.
Them two.
And I think outside, if you like, your Liverpools and your Manchester Cities and whoever else is at the top, we all talk about Saliba and Gabriel, but these two are, if they can keep it going, and that's the thing, and be consistent, they can get to some kind of level. I think at the moment, no disrespect to Shaw and Danny Byrne, who I think is a top player, but I think these two just edge it at the moment.
Yeah. I was laughing because I could see Pete just like Pete does not want to move Fabian Schär from that position. You can see
no, it's not me. I'm just giving Daz a right to refuse. That's all.
No, Shaw. I think Shaw. Did Shaw score passes first game of the season?
Yeah, first game.
Yes,
I like him. I like him a lot. But with our defense, when I watch Milenkovic, like every time someone's a long ball, I just say you're not getting past him, and it's every single time. He's just Newcastle fans. I know you'd be listening with Danny Ray, but you're not getting him. I'll tell you right now, you're not getting him. He's our player.
All right. Daz, are you okay with Milenkovic in?
You are going to send some WhatsApp.
Yeah.
What do you like? Blah blah. This and that. You're not having him. Just thought you told you that.
All right.
But we're sticking with Tino and Hall.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're definitely going Livramento over Aina.
Excuse me.
You're on mute, Chris.
Dave, come on, Dave. Don't let these guys.
Look at Dave.
Dave, don't let them pull you in.
All I would say, I rate Livramento, but has Livramento got a goal in him? Because Olorena scored an
That's it,
absolute
Dave.
world
Loving it.
last week.
I mean,
Come on.
Have you seen him wander through all the Man United defence once?
Yeah, last season. And he scored against Wolves as well.
No. This season.
Yeah,
This season.
I can't split
Oh, no,
that
that was last
dude.
season.
Thank you, Pete. Pete, listen, Pete. Are you listening? We're talking about this season, not last season. This season.
well,
Did
if
you
we're
not
talking
watch him
season
against
goal-
Arsenal? Did you not watch him against Arsenal?
Did you watch Elliot goal?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very
All
much. Then leave him right back. That says it all.
Can we go for agree on Lewis Hall? Can we agree on Lewis Hall?
Lewis Hall, yes.
Yes.
Lewis Hall, yes.
I think Lewis Hall just edges Alex Moreno, yeah. But Moreno is recovering from a low point in his career, and I think he's coming on well. But I think Lewis Hall was brilliant against Arsenal. Moreno was very good against West Ham, but Lewis Hall gets it for me.
I'm sorry. I've got to go Livramento. I cannot.
That's fair.
Not.
It's your party, mate. You can cry if you want to.
Dave,
mate.
Dave, we'll send Pete the goal on the chat. I'm sure Elliot's goal from different angles.
It was only because he was knackered and he wanted to finish his drive.
Pete, he was even knackered and he still scored a fantastic goal.
It was a great goal.
Chris, Daz, what are you saying? Come on.
I've got to go Tino. I've love the goal.
No, people in the chat. Wait. People in the chat. Olena or limited. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
There's only us two Forest. There's 40,000 Geordies watching this, mate.
No, no, it's on my channel as well, people. So Forest fans, come on.
Jimmy Nail is
we can disconnect that.
As we speak.
No, you're not disconnected. Forest fans, come on.
Tell you what. Let's
Tim Healy and Kevin Waitley, they're putting Pino Livramento in at the moment.
Let's leave them both there for now, and we'll go to the others. We'll move back to them.
Midfield then. This one's more of like, obviously you got a few options in there.
Are we doing with the number 10, or are we gonna just play with the 3 in the middle?
We can have it however you want.
3 in the middle. Put 3 in the middle.
They're not in any order, but like, who are the three? Who are the 3 you're going for? And it can be only any one of those 3. I know we've got Joe Linton in there that can play in that midfield, but we're putting him as a left winger in this conversation.
Me personally, I'll throw my cards on the table. Me personally, of that midfield, I'm going Willock, Bruno, Gibbs White. That's where I'm going.
I'll back Chris.
Dave, you go first.
I'm going. Bruno Guimaraes is probably my first name on either.
Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah,
superb player, leader on the field, quality player. Morgan is kind of like our Guimaraes. And actually, if you go back to the game on Boxing Day, a lot of that game became a Morgan against Bruno kind of game, and Morgan won that day. When he came back to the City ground, Bruno won that night when he beat us 3-2. So I don't think there's much between those two. So to me, Bruno and Gibbs White are pretty comfortable picks.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to put Joe Linton in midfield.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm going to have Joe Linton. Because much as I love Yates and I love Dominguez, you're talking about Joe Linton coming in there and doing a physical job. And that's a nice balance with Guimaraes and Gibbs White.
Yeah, fair enough.
Let me say, ask him a short bit. Like I said, I love Yatesy, but Bruno slightly ahead of him. Yeah. If you're talking about form, I'll put Yates in there. But
over Bruno on Dore, man. Dore, you are.
I don't want this argument again, Pete. I'm just saying. I'm saying
you're putting Yates.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm putting Bruno there. I'm putting Bruno there because I think he's a good player in that role. Because if you're talking about form, Ryan Yates is playing the best football in a Forest shirt this season. That's what I'm like. Do you agree, Dave?
Okay.
Well,
he's in great form, but is he playing better than Bruno?
Again, what I'll come back to is this lot in red are in the best form any Forest team's been in for about 30
Yo, where's the
years.
chat, man? Help me
We've
out.
been nowhere for 30 years, so it isn't really a thing. To me, Guimaraes and Gibbs White.
P, what are you
You
drinking?
know.
Peter, what are you drinking?
Yes, Peter.
He's drinking the right stuff.
And then if it's Joe Linton or Yatesy, they both do the physical stuff, but Joe Linton's just got that little bit, to me,
That little
bit
edge.
more class. That little bit more class.
Yatesy, Ryan Yates all the way.
No intentions to have a brandy tonight, but I feel like I need one.
Listen, I'm on the. Listen,
Pour me one as well, Pete, please.
Peter, I'm on. Dave, I'm on the Elena Rabino, so I'm all good.
I need a drink.
No, but the banter aside, Bruno gets slightly ahead of Yatesy, but Yatesy
Gonna
been
drink the
fantastic.
cool-
Back of a
gonna
jersey.
drink the Kool-Aid, lads.
Yeah, so yeah, but Bruno gets in front of me.
He's the only man I know that's been on a night out with the lads and drinks a cup of tea.
Yes, that's
He's the only man I know.
And the thing is, Pete, I was more off the leash than anybody, mate.
That's true. Right, okay. So we've got Bruno Guimaraes in there. Have we all agreed that Morgan Gibbs White is in there somewhere?
yes.
Okay, so I'm going to put him there for now. So now we've got one more spot to fill. Okay, so we're only going to use these players that are available here on the pitch. So who else? Who's going to fit that third spot? I know Chris went with Joe Willock as a potential option. I'm inclined to agree. I think Daz agrees as well. But do you guys have any other player?
Dave was putting Joe Linton in, wasn't he?
Yeah, Dave said Joe Linton. That could be a number.
Yeah, Joe Linton.
Yeah, Joe Linton. I'll say Joe Linton.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go Joe Linton there. So we've lost him on the left hand side.
Dominguez has been fantastic for us, though. To be fair,
Yes.
Good player.
Been very good.
No, Yates.
Hang on a minute. I see what the boys have done now, because that puts Joe Willock up against Hudson-Odoi, and then it's like, well, you're going to pick Hudson-Odoi, aren't you? Oh, okay.
That's the point. It worked.
Smart.
Always thinking ahead, Chris.
Okay, then.
Always thinking ahead.
Chris, this is
We're
why
working as a team.
Chris,
We're basically behind me and Dore behind enemy lines, and we're sort of like,
Chris, this is why we're third, because we think of this.
Yeah, but lads, let them think that, because after the left wing, they don't get any other players.
Yeah, well, that's true. That is true.
They get no more. So what we say then? Hudson-Odoi over Willock then?
Come on, man. It's okay.
To be fair, he's been quality.
Come on, man.
I heard the other day that you signed him for $3 million. Is that right?
Yeah, 3 million. But I think if we do, but if it is for 3 million, but if we do sell him, Chelsea get a big clause from it.
Do you know what? That kid, I've got so much affection for that kid because
Happy birthday, Callum Hudson-Odoi as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Callum Hudson-Odoi when he was at Chelsea, there was a point when he was at Chelsea where I think it might have been Bayern Munich or somebody, maybe Dortmund, offered 70 million for him. Then he got really bad injuries. Yeah, he got really bad injuries, and the kid's career went into a tailspin, possibly through no fault of his own. We signed him for 3 million, right? And I remember his first game for Forest was in an EFL trophy game at Harrogate Town on a Tuesday night. And me and Dore went, and the Forest team bus pulled up outside Harrogate, and they've got a lovely, quaint little stadium in Harrogate. And all the kids got off, the Forest under 21s or B team, whatever, got on. And then Felipe got off, and then Callum Hudson-Odoi got off, right? And we went up to Callum Hudson-Odoi. Yeah, that's right. And there's Callum with Dore. And Callum, we said to Callum Hudson-Odoi, mate, thank you so much for coming to us. We'll look after you. And he said, I'll do my best for you, and I need to get better. And the kid is doing it. He's honest. He's humble. He's playing some really good football. We all know what he's going to do. We all know he's going to cut in from the left and bend it with his right. But stopping it is another thing. So I think, much so like Joe Willock, I think Callum, Anthony Gordon, absolutely the other side for me. Callum one side, Anthony Gordon the other, and then
wait, Pete. If you try to rattle me, Pete, like that, you can listen to it.
You can't write those off as well.
Where's Chris Watt gone?
Where's Chris?
Where's Chris Wood gone?
That's when he's gone. He's on the bench.
See what?
I went for a drink of milk. I only had a drink of milk, and Chris Wood had gone. Where's he disappeared to?
No, Pete. Why are you
Like
doing
to hand Pete Davey.
They must have just disappeared.
Right, Pete.
Well, whilst they're there, we might as well keep them, eh?
Pete, no, Pete. Right, people, right. Are we talking about form? Form. Let's talk about form. Not forget about a standard player. Form. Whatever he's at, right as form. Come on.
I
He got paid a month. He got paid a month, Pete. Come on.
I cannot. Right, there's two positions, and it's reflected there on the graphic. I can't split Livramento and Olaena, right? And I can't split Woody and Isak. If you'd asked me at the start of the season, Jesus, I'd have had Isak.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
But I think, while Isak's probably just still ahead of it, Woody has now closed the gap. And Woody at the moment is, for him to kind of get as much publicity as he's getting. I mean, he's been nominated for the Player of the Month, which
He got it.
Fantastic.
He got it.
Do we play 4-4-2, boys? I'm thinking, do we drop Joe Linton and play 4-4-2? Is that what we do?
You know what, Chris? That's the best thing you've said on the show. You know what? Just make it 4-4-2. Simple as that. 4-4-2.
Is that what we have to do? 4-4-2,
You know what? I'm going around to seeing the logic of that. And if you like, Isak's just scored a fantastic goal that had everybody.
Hey! Stop it! Stop it!
I'm not doing anything. Stop doing anything.
Christ! No. I wish I had a touch screen now. I can't do anything. I'm putting my finger on the screen. Pete Davey, I'm putting my finger on my screen, and I can't move any of these bloody players. Mate.
All right. We got it.
No, joking aside, though,
it's a great team.
If you see as better player, he's for the wood. But form-wise, come on, everyone's talking about him.
I'm looking at that 5 Forest and 6 Newcastle, and that probably reflects.
Yeah, it is.
That reflects the fact that Newcastle have been established as a Premier League team longer than we have.
No, right. Dave, we should have 6. Put Elliot in a back in, Dave.
Give myself there.
Put Elliot in a back in that scene, and that makes it 6.
Oh,
cheek.
Right, okay, because we renegotiated the wood, can we have Tino? Can we have Tino?
We put Wood in.
We put him in.
Yeah.
We've renegotiated. Look, we've got England's potential fullbacks there for the next 10 years potentially. We can't look away from that.
I mean, you know what? Lewis Hall is like the bolter out of the blue, isn't he? Because if you'd have gone back 3 or 4 weeks, maybe you'd have said, well, maybe Moreno. If we'd done this after the Liverpool game and the way Moreno dealt with Mo Salah, you'd have Moreno in. But Lewis Hall was so brilliant against Arsenal. I love the fact that Lewis Hall is probably the least well known of the Newcastle team, and he's got all of this spotlight this week. Fair play to the lad; he deserves it. You know what I mean?
100%,
mate.
100%.
He is.
What about managers? Wait, what about managers? I saw in the comments from Sean.
Eddie all day.
Again. Come on, man. League table doesn't
Nuno. I think on current form. I think you'd have to say Nuno.
Right. Can I put it in context? It's been our assistant manager has been on the touchline, and we've won all 3 games. So we can put Nuno, assistant manager. Maybe Eddie Howe
up in the stand.
Maybe Eddie Howe can be the water bottle man. Clean something like that.
Come on, man.
And we need Mad Dog. Mad Dog's got to be in there.
Of course. Mad Dog's assistant manager without question. But I did have the same thought that because of form and you boys sitting third with what you're doing, I give you Nuno for that.
And Nuno is the only guy to put Arnie Slot totally in his place this season.
Rattled him. Slot got rattled.
In fact, when they're talking about the Nottingham Forest defeat being the thing that's spurring Liverpool on, that says Arnie Slot's like, Nuno got in my head and he dominated me, and he did. I mean, that day at Anfield, Dore will tell you, the Liverpool fans, you'll never walk alone at the start of the game. 75 minutes in, Liverpool were walking alone because they were walking out. And that was down to Nuno's masterclass. Stay in the game for 60 minutes, open it up, and then take the game. And that's what Forest did. That it was tactically, it's the best I've seen for a long time.
Yeah,
definitely. Right. We'll leave it there. That's the combined team. It's a great team, to be fair.
It is.
Would be massively competitive. So
after the game, we'll see all 11 Forest players be on it, and you'll be crying about your players and all that. So yeah, after the game, keep.
We'll see. But look, I think we've got a couple of questions, and then we'll come back to we'll come to the predictions before we wrap up.
Yeah. Okay. Just some quick shout outs to Antoon Army, who donated 5 memberships there as well. This is one here. Thanks, Antoon Army. And I think it's on your channel, guys. Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
Good man.
Nice,
Good man,
Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
To 1983, new member as well. Welcome to 1983. Welcome, Lord Ultra.
Be a member to my channel, man. I need some help, man. To rattle these Newcastle.
Also, a member, the Lord Ultra is Peter Moyle, who has some great suggestions and options in the chat as well. Let's get to a question. Right, let's go for this one. Ian Trader, who from your 11 would get into our first 11? I mean, we've just done that. We just won. And who would you replace them with from the two? Who are you giving us, and who would you take from us?
I'll take Gordon for Langer.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd take Anthony Gordon for Anthony Elanga, because I think Anthony Gordon is more consistent than Anthony Elanga. And Anthony Gordon's end product is better than Anthony Elanga's, by and large.
Okay. Good stuff.
One for you, Chris. Kubo from Andy
Ford.
I've
seen that from Andy Ford. I've seen that. Where is Kubo? Where is he?
Got 2 strings.
From Tom Dixon said, would you consider a bid for Elanga? Would you be prepared to let him go, lads? And how much would you let him go for?
The thing with Langer, and Dave might agree on this, he'll play. I don't want to be harsh on him, because they said everyone's have done their bit. If we did sell Langer and we sold him for like 40 to 50 million, would I be disappointed about it? No, because it's like with Brennan Johnson. We sold him to Newcastle for 50 million. We thought, we're not going to replace him, and we did for Langer and Hudson-Odoi for cheap as well. But if we did 40 million, 50 million to Newcastle, I'll take it. But right now, he's in a good team. He's not. I don't think he scored yet this season yet, but he's doing his bit. He's doing his bit.
I reckon that if Newcastle came with, they did come, didn't they, with a bid before, and at the time, I was kind of thinking, we need to give that serious consideration. Now, Anthony, because I was speaking to a guy a couple of weeks ago who comes in our gym, who's the goalkeeper for Chesterfield, Ryan Boot. He came in, and we were talking about a friendly between Chesterfield and Forest at the start of pre-season. And Ryan Boot said to me, he said he's the fastest guy I've ever seen on a football field, Anthony Elanga. But the thing with Anthony Elanga is he'll have a good one, not so good, good, not so good. Right. Now, if Newcastle came again and said 45, 50, I would seriously consider it, because now Ramon Sosa has come in and Jota Silva has come in. And what you're finding is we're starting with 2 wingers. And it's just the last few weeks when things have been good, and it'll be interesting to see when things are not so good what these guys do. But we've been able to kind of start Callum and Anthony, take them off, put Jota Silva on and Ramon Sosa on, and not lose anything. Now, if they were coming on and it was a clear drop off from Elanga and Hudson-Odoi, Elanga in particular, then I'd be like, I think we need to hold on to him. But I don't think. I almost get the feeling that, like, whereas, Morato has been bought maybe as a replacement for Murillo if he goes, and Elliot could do a job if Morgan goes, then maybe if Anthony Elanga was going, Forest is thinking, well, we've got Ramon Sosa, who's a Paraguayan international, and we've got Jota Silva. So again, it comes back to the idea that Forest almost overnight, and thanks to Nuno and his coaches and the recruitment team, have developed a level of depth that we didn't have before.
Yeah.
100%.
So Anthony Elanga being sold, I think, at this juncture in time, is less of an issue than it might have been a few weeks back.
Yeah, 100%, Dave. 100%.
Just to me.
Okay.
Cool. Chris, I'm going to come to you because there was some breaking news while we're on the show as well. Maybe just from via Chris Hope.
Yeah.
Craig Hope, even.
Chris Hope. Reframe.
Chris, give us hope.
Yeah, I've got to give you a bit of hope. Yeah, so Craig Hope has just tweeted there, for anyone who hasn't seen it, Newcastle, it's not really a big shock, but Newcastle United have opened talks with the reps of Fabian and Emil Kraft over the contract situation with both players due to expire this season. So good news in my opinion. I think both deserve a new contract. So yeah, a little bit of breaking news there. So just wanted to mention.
Cheers. Nobby Clark, cheers for the donation, the super chat. Nobby, he goes, Dore, I wish you were as right as you are enthusiastic.
That's damning with faint praise, isn't it? Nice one, Nobby.
Nobby, thank you for $4.99. But listen, I'm just excited more than.
Yeah.
We've got to win the moment.
That's the thing. We're going to get bumps and bruises. It's the Premier League, but why not? I love it. We're above Man U. We're above Chelsea. We're above whoever. I'm excited. So
we're way beyond where I thought we would be, and that has to be, celebrated. I mean, Sunday night it might be different, but as of now, Thursday night, it's great being a Forest fan. We've had 3 decades of manure.
Exactly.
And we deserve a little bit of something now.
And I say some of these content creators need to show some respect to Forest, man, because everyone talks about no disrespect to Newcastle fans. Like I said, I love Newcastle fans, but as Forest fans, it's just good to be third place in the Premier League. And and it's like I was saying to Newcastle, it feels like if it was last season, we'd have got battered, but now. It feels like I'm not saying, we're going to beat Newcastle, big score, nor that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's good to go into a game thinking we can go toe-to-toe Newcastle and that we can get a positive result. But Newcastle are a good side, and I don't want to go thinking overhead myself. We're going to batter Newcastle. Yeah. They are a good side, and they won fantastic last week as well.
Next question is, I'll link it in with, do you think your title challenge will continue, lads?
No,
and do you think you'll stay in the Champions League?
It's not a title charge. Let's be real. It's not a title charge. We joke, have a laugh and all that. Like Pete can laugh as well because we're above you a lot. So that is the.
I wasn't even laughing.
You was, Pete. I seen it, Pete. You think, listen, man, you try to rattle me too much, Pete. This on today. So
I've been so respectful.
It looks to me like he's done his job.
No, don't say. Listen, man, we're enjoying it. We are enjoying it. We're third place in the Premier League, and like I said, when it comes to end of May, we'll see how it is. But right now, we've got tough fixtures in front of us, and we'll see how it is. We're just happy. That's what it is. I'm not to be happy.
We are happy, and we're enjoying it. And
especially you, Bobby. Who did that super chat? Right, yeah.
Nobby.
Yeah. Dave, do you think Forest will continue in the Champions League places? No, I don't. I don't think that'll happen. I mean, I think the team that I was on with Potsy and the lads earlier, and I said the team that Forest most remind me of at the moment, and maybe for obvious reasons, is the Wolverhampton Wanderers team that finished 7th 2 years running and gone into Europe. Now, I think that is a fair comparison to make. Yeah. We're not an Arsenal, we're not a Manchester City, we're not a Liverpool, we're not a Chelsea, we're not an Aston Villa really at the moment. I think those teams are a cut above us. I mean, I think we'll end up, if we can finish in the top half, to me that would be just beyond belief. Be amazing. Because I mean, the first thing to say is at the moment it doesn't look like we're going to be in a relegation battle. So there already is a huge step of progress, right? A huge evolution, if you like. If we can somehow finish in the top 10 of supposedly the most high-profile football league in the world for a club like Nottingham Forest, given where we've been, that would be incredible. I mean, we've got a good friend we were going to a game a few weeks ago, and we were talking about it, and he was saying he thinks we'll finish 12th. You know, so a lot of us are kind of we are enjoying the moment, but we're probably likely to drop down a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I think. So no, I to answer Tom's question, we're not title contenders. We're not that good yet.
Wait. Can I say something? But after the, I could say the Everton game, then talk to me after that, Pete. Then we'll see what happens.
Well, that'll be hard.
After the Everton away.
Yeah,
but
after Everton away, we'd have played exactly half our fixtures.
Exactly. Then
half
you know what it is? The general window is going to be important as well, because if we bring in the right players, then again, it's something that a different topic.
That's a great Dore. That's a great point. Another point you make. Let's talk about evolution. 2 years ago, Nottingham Forest was a standing joke for signing anybody that could breathe. Right, 40,000 signings. Right now, we're at the point Forest have actually evolved from this chaotic transfer policy to a point where I think when we go into the January window, Nuno and the recruitment team will be thinking one there, and maybe another one there.
Yeah.
It'll be tweaks rather than overhauls, because I mean it had to be that way when we came up, because we came up off the back of 5 fantastic loan players, right, who helped us up, so we had to buy a lot. But like now, I think the whole thing has just matured. The whole thing has just matured way more, and it's actually, I thought it would be another season. I was saying to people, we'd be like Brighton, struggle for 3 seasons and then just gradually establish. We're actually maybe ahead of the curve. We might be a bit too ahead of the curve and then come back a bit. I don't know, but at the moment, I just see a club that is all of a sudden being far better run, and adults have got in the room, and I like what I'm seeing on that basis. You know what I mean?
Right, guys, let's go to predictions, but we'll do that. We'll go to the question here. Can you let us know what you expect from Sunday, lads? Let's go to predictions. Pete.
I think it's gonna be a close game, but I just think Newcastle are gonna pip it.
I would say that. He would say that. He would say that.
It's the most predictable prediction.
We're not going to get Pete and say, "Oh, Forest going to take advantage of their load."
It's going to be close. You've got the second best defensive record in the Premier League in Forest against the third best defensive.
Are you not third?
Not third. The third, yeah.
Okay, fair play.
You conceded 7, we've conceded 10, so we're third. So it's going to be a close game.
Fair play.
I'm going 2-1 Newcastle United.
Fair play. I'll take that.
Let's go.
Okay. Well, I go next. I agree with what Malcolm says here. Get these 2 lads back on again. A lot of Mag. It's been a great show, a great guest.
Thank you,
I've listened to everything the lads have said about Forest, but I've had this in my head for a while now. I think something big is going to happen, and linking to maybe Mr. Yates getting a red card.
I can. If Alex, you're trying to rattle me. It's not working, Alex. It's not working. Because the Newcastle fans, when it comes after the game, you can see on social media, Yates this, Yates that. Listen to me, Yates has got to do his job and rattle the whole Newcastle fan base. Get his clip.
Newcastle 2-0. 2-0 Newcastle. Sorry, lads. Newcastle 2-0.
It's going sheets. Love it. Yeah, we'll go Dave, Chris, and then Dore to end up there. So Dave, go on, give us your prediction.
I think it's going to be a really good game of football. I'm expecting. I mean, okay, we're third, you're 11th, but there's only 4 points between us, because such is the compressed nature of the Premier League. It's the established Premier League side that were only in Europe, a couple of seasons ago, doing fantastic. The great managerial duo, in my view, against a team that is working to be a properly established team. That's us. I just think it's...
Dave, just say it, man! Just come on!
Dore, let David speak now. There's a good
Sorry, Uncle Dave.
There's a good gentleman, Benjamin. We've had Davies gone 2-1, right? And this Davies going 2-1, but I'm going in the opposite direction to Mr. Davey. I think it'll be Nottingham Forest 2, Newcastle 1. But there won't be much in it, and I think it's 2 Really, really good sides. If you're not doing anything at 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, you want to watch a good game of football, watch this one. It's going to be a belter. 2 great clubs, 2 great fan bases in a cauldron of a stadium. There's very little between the 2 teams, which actually says a lot about Forest development to this point. You know, last 2 seasons, there's been a lot between Newcastle and Forest. I think the gap has closed. For a neutral, I think it's the game to watch this weekend, honestly. But I love my boys. I absolutely adore them. After my brothers and my sisters-in-law and my niece, my lads and my family, I'm going to stick with them to win 2-1, but it's not going to be easy.
I'm loving it, Dave. How much tea have you drank, Dave, so far?
The thing is, hey, when you get to 60 and you drink as much tea as I've done, my bladder is full to bursting, lads. I'm telling you. I might be the first guest on this show to piss himself, not laughing either. You know what I mean?
Chris, what you going, fella?
I had this in my head to start with, and I'm gonna agree with Dazzler. I think it's gonna be 2-0 Newcastle. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going with. But it will be. I agree with Dave. Cracking game, and I hope it gets the coverage that it deserves, and they don't just talk about the Arsenal Chelsea game. Yeah,
absolutely, mate. Well said, Chris. Here he comes.
You get final prediction.
No, because as you just said, Newcastle got the 3rd best defence in the Premier League, and I didn't even know that, to be fair. But I think it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game. I think this is Forest's biggest test at home. Biggest time at home as well.
Yeah.
And I got to stick with my boys. I think the same as Dave. I think I've got to go for 2-1 because I think the win against Crystal Palace, because we didn't win at home for a long time, but that game we won. We win West Ham, and I just feel that we're 3rd. Confidence is high. Chris Wood might get a hat trick again. I'm not saying we're winning 3-0, but
you're right, though. It's our hardest test at home by a mile.
It's hardest test at home.
West Ham are feeble, right?
Yes.
I mean, there's some old ladies who I've seen walking around Uttoxeter today where I live, and if they played West Ham would run away. West Ham are the worst team we've played. Palace, not great, but a decent side, but not in a great moment. We played Wolves and Bournemouth at home. This is another level entirely. And exactly. I think for me, seriously, if I come out the City Ground, Sunday afternoon at 4:30 or whatever, and we've beaten Newcastle United, it might just adds another little layer to me thinking, well, maybe we are what we look to be. Do you know what I'm saying? Newcastle is the best litmus test for us.
That's the point. It's like I say, if we win on Sunday, I'll be thinking like, okay, people are going to take us really seriously now, and that before the international duty, because we've had so much media press and we deserve to be, and we're 3rd place. And like I said, this is the biggest home test of the season so far. So
easily,
I think we'll win 2-1. But far from that, I think it's going to be a good game. And Ryan Yates Ryan Yates yet again is going to rat the whole Newcastle.
Do you know what, Dore? At the same time, it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me. It ended up 3-3 or 4-4.
It's going to be a good game.
It's going to be 0-0 now. It's going to be 0-0 now.
Because of what
life's like that. Chris, life's like that, isn't it, mate?
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Because of what Joe said, I'm going 3-1 now. 3-1. Just for you, Ben. Just for you. But no, honestly, boys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming and joining me.
Thank you on my channel as well, man.
And massive thanks for Dore as well. DoreOntour, streaming from his channel as well. On YouTube and Facebook. So thank you all for checking that out.
Been an absolute pleasure, lads. Thank you.
Make sure all the Forest fans, make sure you go and subscribe to Learn the Mac as well, man. Top lads.
And of course, same way, all Newcastle fans, if you're not already, making sure you're subscribing to DoreOntour.
Yeah, and when we do win, make sure everyone rattles Pete, man. I love it, man. I love it.
Reactions show 8 p.m. Sunday night.
Yeah, mine's 9 o'clock. Review show 9 o'clock. But yeah, District side, everyone make sure hit the like button for Loaded Map, man. Great channel.
Are you at the game?
No, unfortunately not. Couldn't make this one, but yeah.
Okay, mate. Cool. We'll be thinking of you though, Pete.
Yeah, I'll be thinking of you too. I'll be thinking of you too. When we're celebrating.
And Taz and Chris as well. I'll have these 3 Geordies sat on the shoulder. If we've lost and we're walking out the sitting ground, I'll have the weight of these three on the top of my shoulders. You know what I mean? So, but let's hope it's a good.
As long as you're not leaving at halftime, Dave, that's all right.
No, never leave. We in fact, on that subject, we was on 12th man early, and we're talking about Fulham's comeback against Brentford, and me and Dore have got a really good mutual friend who's a brilliant Fulham fan. And he left 7 minutes from time. Anyway, it was 0-1.
Oh, yes. Alan, if you're watching, Alan, I hope you're watching this, man.
Yeah, Alan drew it. He thought we're never going to win this, even though Fulham were well on top of Brentford at the time. And Alan went. As Alan was leaving the ground, Harry Wilson was warming up to come on.
Wow.
Never leave before the end, lads.
Never leave.
Never
leave.
Thanks, lads. Thanks for coming and joining us.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for having me on the show. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks everyone as well for watching.
Make sure everyone subscribe to everyone. Come on, do it now.
Take it easy. Good night.